Yeah. Okay. When your instructor in Accounting 1 said that there's 4 financial statements, you learned how to do the balance sheet, the statement of equity, and the income statement. And then he or she probably said the statement of equity is one of them, but you're not going to learn how to do it in Accounting 1. You'll do that at a later time. Is that right? Remember that?
Yep.
This is that later time. Okay? Now, I like the cash flow statement. I like the cash flow statement. Now, let me ask you this. Does anybody keep track of their money that they spend? Does anybody keep track of the money that they spend? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You do? Why, Julie, do you keep track of the money you spend?
So you know you have.
Okay, so you know how much you have. What other reasons do we keep track of the money we spend?
Heirs.
Huh?
Possible heirs.
Heirs? I mean, who you're going to give it to?
No.
No, like bank errors.
Oh, bank errors.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that. Got you. Yeah, that's like a bank wreck. This I'm thinking more like a Quicken. You want to know where your money's being spent, right? Don't you want to know where your money's being spent?
Mm-hmm.
You want to kind of project for the future. Am I going to have enough to make my car payment? Am I going to have to borrow more money from my mom and dad or whatever, right? Okay, there's a lot of reasons we need to know how much money we have. Well, it's the same with businesses. They need to know how much, they keep track of their cash flows because they want to know, how did we get our cash? Where do we spend our cash? Is cash going up or is cash going down? Okay? It's the same reason that people on an individual basis keep track of their cash flows. They want to answer such questions as, how do we fund our operations? Are we going to be able to pay our liabilities as they come due? Can we afford to make a dividend payment? Are we going to have to maybe borrow more money to fund our operations? It's the same sort of questions you might ask, right? Now, when we keep track of cash, we certainly are keeping track of cash like in the bank accounts, and the savings accounts, the checking accounts. But we're also keeping track of something called cash equivalents. These are, an example of a cash equivalent is a 90-day certificate of deposit. These are investments, but they're so close to maturity that interest rates won't affect how they change. Okay? We pretty much know what they're worth. All right? We know what they're worth. So we're going to include cash equivalents in there as well. All right? Okay, now, there are 3, let me back up. Let me have you take a look in your book, okay? I want you to look in your book at page, we're in chapter 16. Let me find it. Where is it? Okay, I want you to take a look at Exhibit 1611 on page 641 in your book. Okay? You probably can't see it on the screen, but just turn it to in your textbook. Okay, it's a statement of cash flows, Exhibit 1611 in your book. And it's just an example of a statement of cash flows. Okay? Now I want you to notice something. There are 3 main sections of this cash flow statement. There is something called the cash flows from operating activities. There is the cash flows from investing activities. And then there is the cash flows from financing activities. You with me? And then it all comes down and it reconciles the change in cash. In this case, there was an increase in cash. Are you with me? Now, one of the most important things that you need to do, and I'll tell you, students have trouble doing this, okay, is you need to be able to properly classify your cash flows, okay? Think back to Accounting 1. Let's say I'm trying to teach you how to prepare a balance sheet, but you don't know which accounts are assets, you don't know which accounts are liabilities, you don't know which accounts are equity. You don't know that. How successful are you going to be at preparing a balance sheet?
Not very.
Not very successful. You have to know where they go. Same thing with the cash flow statement. You need to know your operating cash flows, you need to know your investing cash flows, and you need to know your financing cash flows. I'm going to promise you on Thursday we're going to have a quiz over this. Now I'm going to try to help you learn these, but you have to learn how to do these. Okay? So we're going to talk about the different types of cash flows. Okay? The operating, the investing, and the financing. I'm going to skip operating for now, and I'm going to talk about investing cash flows. Are you with me? Okay? So let me put up a handout. I think I brought it. If not, I'll just rewrite it. Okay? Oh, I'll rewrite it. Okay? I want you to copy this down. This is important, okay? I'm going to tell you, blow this up a bit, the 3 most common investing cash flows. Okay? These are the 3 most common investing cash flows. Okay? The first one is buying or selling long-term investments. The second one is buying or selling fixed assets. And the third one is loaning money on or collecting principal on a long-term note receivable. Okay? I think that is a better way to learn it than the slide that you just saw that says investing cash flows. Okay? Can you guys see that? I can probably make it a little larger. Boom, 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 boom. See that back there, Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay. Buying or selling long-term investments, buying or selling fixed assets, or loaning money on or collecting principal on a long-term note receivable. These are the 3 most common investing cash flows. And I would make a flashcard and put those on the front and investing on the back. Okay? Now let me tell you the 3 most common financing cash flows. Okay? The 3 most common financing cash flows. Whoops, let's not do that. Okay? The first one is, oh, how do I want to say this? Issuing long-term debt, including bonds, or paying principal on that debt. Okay, that's the first most common financing cash flow. The second most common financing cash flow is issuing stock in our own company or buying back our own stock. And we call that treasury stock. Okay? And the third most common financing cash flow is paying dividends. Cool? That's the 3 most common investing cash flows and the 3 most common financing cash flows. Again, we quiz over all this on Thursday. Cool? Now let me give you a few rules of thumb to kind of help you learn these. Okay?